about how do hair grows. Some like to keep them short, some like to keep them long. Some like to artificially color them, and some like to rock the natural salt and pepper look. Those with a full beard are assumed to have nearly 100,000 to 150,000 hair on the scalp. That's really a lot. This is a hair, so we cannot just count one hair, two hair. We cannot just count because there's a lot. So there's they think that they have nearly 100,000 to 150,000 like hair, not the one that are sculpted. There's each of those tiny stripes here. One hair, two, three, four. Counting that will take a really long time, which not only makes you feel better, but also helps to keep your head warm in the winter. In the winter, it was really cold, so the more big your head capacity it goes up like this, the more warmer you are. Because the one that has sharp, it was like this. It wasn't bouncy. It was like this, so it wasn't really help anything. It just the hair that make them look pretty, but they don't do anything. And they keep your hair warm and cushion your skull a bit in case you bump your head into something. Like a sucker goes in your head, maybe your hair could help you a bit, because the more the hairs that are in here, if you bump something in, maybe it will help you, maybe cushion your skull a bit. So far, what we know about these dense strands is that they are mostly made of keratin. Keratin is that they are mostly made of keratin. Keratin is a type of protein left over from dead cells that are pushed upwards at new cells. So it was like like this was your hair, right? The down part here was the dead cell, and the new cell aboard, and this is a new hair cell. This is the old cell, the dead cell. The new cells will push the old cell up, and it goes up. Protein left over from dead cell, and they are pushed up from the new cells. And this process takes place in a tube-like tiny hole called hair follicles, where the hair goes through an endless growth and shock cycle to enter the next phase. So this is the first phase. The cell dead, and then the new cells go, and it push the dead cells up. And this process takes place in a tube-like tiny hole called hair follicles. So this place, like in your hair, there's a lot of tiny holes. So that was the hole where hairs grow up, and that hole is called follicles. That was the first stage, the first phase. The next phase called catagen or transition phase. During this phase, the hair follicles begin to shrink and lose about 1/6 of the standard diameters. So the next stage, the hair will during this phase, the hair follicles begin to shrink. Shrink is getting smaller. Like you're a big one, but maybe you eat something and it makes you shrink. It makes you smaller. It makes you become a tiny person, a dwarf or something like that. Well, maybe you're really tall, but you eat that, so you become shorter and shorter. You shrink. So your hair shrinks and lose about 1/6 of the standard diameter. This phase runs for a few weeks and cuts the blood supply. So it will go for a few weeks for it to shrink and lose about 1/6 diameter. What's diameter? Maybe it's really small because our hair wasn't that long. This phase runs for a few weeks and cuts the the blood supply to the follicles, resulting in club hair, which is ready to be shed before entering the final phase called telogen, or the resting stage, period 10 to 12 weeks. That's really long. It's like 2 months or something like that. One month have 4 to 5 weeks. 10 to 12 weeks maybe it's 2 months. That's really long. 2 months for of the telogen phase. That's a lot. Around 10 to 15% of hair follicles became inactive and shed around 100 to 200 club hair. Club hair is each of those those tiny hairs. It's like string and shed around 100 to 200 hair. They have 100,000 to 150,000 hair, but during this phase, you will lose 100 to 200 hair per day. Once the old hair are shed, the entire growth cycle starts again. So let's have the hair grow. The first, I don't remember too much. The first phase is that they're made of keratin. The new cells push the old cells up and make that. And it's grown from a hole in the hair called follicles. It was kind of like a pond. And the next phase, during this phase, the hair will shrink, and this phase was called what? It was called catagen. It will shrink about 1/6 diameter. This phase runs for a few weeks and cut the blood supply. The last phase, called telogen, during 10 to 12 weeks of telogen phase, around 10% of hair follicles became inactive, and it was like shed. It was loose. It's loose 100 to 200 hairs per day. Once the old hair are shed, the entire growth cycle goes again and again. It goes like kind of forever. So that is the end of today. How hairs go. Thank you for listening. Bye again. Bye bye.